What's goody to any and everybody who may be listening? I'm going to be getting into my wilderness experience. This experience, the experience that I'm in now, where I am consciously unhoused, or quote, most people call it homeless, but I don't call it homeless because home, your home is your body. And I'm learning that this experience has been about being comfortable, and being at home inside of my body, where my consciousness lies. Keeping my consciousness inside of my own body and knowing my story, my own story. Okay, so let's go back to how it started. Okay, prior to me ever leaving, to come out into the wilderness, to put myself into this uncomfortable situation, I was still, holding on by a thread. Okay, and living at this house. Now we're going to be getting into this house in a future post, but I call it Hell House 2226, in which I had a room in this house. And everybody had their own room, you know what I'm saying? Like, but we shared a bathroom and we shared a kitchen. But I'm going to be talking about this house and what these are. But that's where I originally started to do the canning and the bottling, and that was just a precursor to actually putting myself all the way out there. Like, this had to happen in steps. Because I'm telling you, based on the way that I was raised, these motherfucking well-to-do Christians, as they call themselves, well-to-do Christians, and it was based on appearances and how people view, I would have never been seen digging inside of anyone's trash can to get cans and bottles. But it turned out that this is what uh, spirit was pushing me towards, doing this, and I'm really fortunate and glad that I did it, that I started to do this, because this was the trail. This was leading me. This is the path that would be leading me to my destination. For me to humble myself at that time and get to these cans and these bottles. Little did I know what it was doing at the time, which was clearing the blockages, clearing the poverty consciousness and the blockages and the black orbs that continue to fall off or just blow up. The black orbs, the dark matter, whatever you want to call that shit, from aroma being infected on that ship. And then this brotherhood conjuring them up. But once we get down into the simulation and things of this nature, I was still housed at this time, but spirit was pushing me towards doing, like, action, like putting myself all the way out there, and they wanted me to have this experience, because again, this was an experience that brought my soul fragments home. Okay, they came back to me, baby, by me putting myself on out there into that struggle. But I didn't really have to, because I made enough money. I make enough money to, afford a monthly payment. But anyway, before I get off track, because I got some things to say, but I'm gonna get back into that. But anyway, so when I first started to do the cans and the bottles, however, I did notice that there was some gatekeeping going on, some magic happening. See, and that's how I knew to keep going, because I was running into situations. Number one, that there were these gatekeepers. okay, that I would see in the hypnagogic state. Now, the hypnagogic state, I talked about this before. The hypnagogic state is very important. Now, this is the state right before you fall asleep, like you laying down in your bed and you got your eyes closed, but you might see images flash. That's the hypnagogic state. Okay. Now I talked about that before. Go back and watch that. I'm not gonna. So, but at this time, when I first started to do the cans and the bottles, I would see images, not just images, but like scenes of these Hispanic dudes or something like that trying to stop me or being in my way or trying to put fear into my heart. We don't know fear pump. Baby, my blood don't pump fear. So I found that to be redundant and annoying when I realized that this was happening. Like, what's going on with these Hispanic dudes being in my way or trying to put fear in my heart, trying to put fear into my heart? It didn't work. I kept canning and bottling. Because it did, at first, there was something about it that made my inner child feel joy. Okay. What else did I want to say pertaining to that? Okay, also, at first, now again, let's get back into this hypnagogic state. Besides the Hispanic individuals who I would see gatekeeping and trying to scare me from not doing that, I would also see these gnats or these fruit flies or whatever it was flying out of containers. So as I would be laying down after a day of working, hold on, let me get some water. Because she raspy, hold on. Okay. So, ooh, yes. So after a day of working, I would go to bed that night or take a nap, and in the hypnagogic state again, I would see myself doing the work. Like going out there and get the cans and the bottles, digging in the recycling bins or the trash can. When I would open a container, every time I would open it, I would see like flies or fruit flies or gnats rushing out of the compartment, rushing at me. And I'm sort of seeing them as black orbs too now, a little bit, as I'm talking. Okay, these gnats or these bugs would come out of the container rushing at me. But this was, again, a mechanism to get me to stop doing it, which I did not. And little did I know, this was the shadow work that spirit was trying to get me to do the whole time. Because after I quit the tarot cards, which was very emotional, a very emotional experience having to stop doing tarot. Which now it makes sense because I wouldn't give a fuck about sitting in front of damn one of y'all giving y'all a reading. Now you're lucky you're getting this, and this ain't for you. This for me. But you're lucky you're getting this. And this is for my records, strictly for my records, my Akashics. But nonetheless, it's being recorded. Anyway, so, yeah, the fruit flies would fly out at the fruit flies or the gnats or whatever that was. I feel like it was black orbs. I feel like it was black orbs or something like that as well. Or it's symbolic of that. Flying out of the trash can or the recycling bin, wherever it was, I would open that container and they would fly out of it and rush at me. Okay? This was a mechanism to get me to stop doing it. But again, like I said, this was my shadow work. This is what spirit was pushing me towards after pushing me out of doing the tarot card readings at Venice Beach, or even just doing the tarot card readings, period. Okay. So, anyway, we moved down, and I just keep doing it. You know, I get better at the canning and the bottling. I start to discover the ins and outs of it. After all of this subsided, all of the gatekeeping, and that eventually did go away. Because, again, can't nobody hold me down. Okay? Can't nobody subdue me at all. Can't nobody stop me. Okay? So after this subsided, I got to know the ins and outs of what I was doing, and I started to, go out and develop different ways on being more efficient, as well as discovering routes where I know I'm going to see some cans and bottles, my own routes, and everything of this nature. And it would sort of fill my inner child with joy at first. So, but then we get to the real shadow work when I finally encounter Orumala for the first time in this lifetime at that hostel. When I finally encountered Orumala at that hostel is when I noticed that when I would go out and get my cans and my bottles, it was irritating the fuck out of me. It was irritating. Okay, and this is when the real shadow work had began. Okay, after I encountered Orumala at this hostel, looking fried, might I add, looking quite fried. Um, after I encountered Orumla, that's when the emotions of it got more intense. That's when the real work started happening, and the blockages started to clear. Having to feel all of that rage from me even having to go out and get cans and bottles and do all of this. It was the purpose of doing this shadow work. Why was I getting cans and bottles when this is mine, rightfully? Okay, after being on that ship with this character and having sex in front of these perverted creatures, and then being the celestial body who gave birth to all the matter and all of the light sparks, everything here. Why was I out there getting cans and bottles, picking up cans and bottles, and just to get money to eat? That was the shadow work I was doing, which I would eventually be getting to discover. Because again, I didn't really have all of this information at that time. I didn't really know all of this. Okay. So we move on down to this experience where I had to ingest meth. I had to ingest the methamphetamines in order to get the fragments that were stuck from that previous lifetime where I was fed crystal meth and placed into sex trafficking, locked in the cellar. I had to get those fragments back by piercing the veil in this lifetime through the ingestion of that drug. That's what brought me the pieces back from that lifetime. This is how I pierced the veil. Using the psychosis. I had to use the psychosis to get the pieces, and based on what I already knew from my day-to-day life is how I put the pieces and the puzzle together based on the information that I had already been getting prior to my ingesting the drug, which was again shadow work, real shadow work. A lot of y'all don't even know what the fuck shadow work is because y'all stuck on being perfect, even though you know you're not perfect because you quote sinning all the time and blaming it on the devil. but yet and still you trying to be perfect. You don't know how to do shadow work. You don't know how to work with the darkness or put yourself into uncomfortable situations. Work with your ailments and work with your flaws. You don't know how to do that. But that's the name of the game. That's what we're playing. That's what I'm playing. And it's a part of knowing the wisdom and the knowledge, which if you don't know, you are absolutely broke. And no, you are not saved by the blood of Jesus. That's not gonna save you. Somebody's blood saving you. What kind of shit is that? To even think that you are saved because somebody died on a cross. To even have that thought in your head is stupid. That's why I call you stupid and retarded. Any of you who believes that mess, that demonic mess, that a man died on a cross. And you think that you are covered by his death. What don't you see about that? That's nuts. Okay? So anyway, we get to the experience where I had to ingest that drug to get those pieces back, which were stuck back up in that chakra, in the lower sacral chakra, where again mother was myself, where I was fed that crystal meth and locked in the cellar and sex traffic, mind you. This is what enabled me to be born down through a vagina and into a family. My vibration lowering that much to where it was made able for me to be born down through a vagina. Of course, there was a lot of dark magic done for even that to occur. But anyway, before I get off track. So after this experience with the going into the underworld at that time using the meth, I wound up leaving the house or moving out of that house because of the experience itself. And I'm going to be talking about that house, okay, which I did live in for about 2 years. I'm going to be talking about it. But after that house, I found myself going around to different hostels and seeing them until finally I got to the hostel where that's where Arumala was. This is This was the meeting that spirit was. And see, and this only happened because I was able to get back on the frequency. Okay. Okay, what else? Now let's get into the actual going out full force. Eventually, I started to feel the nudge to just say fuck it. As I was staying, excuse me, hold on. My bad. As I was living in these hostels, I started to feel the nudge to say fuck it. Because I was living in these hostels, I was going out every day, getting the cans and bottles, and breaking my neck doing it. And one day I was just like, I'm just about to say fuck this and let it go. I started to feel that nudge very strongly to say fuck it and let it go. And I sat with that for a while, for a couple of days. I sat with that energy, and eventually I decided that that's okay. That's spirit. I know that. When it's this intense, I know it's spirit. So I said fuck it, and I decided to drop it all and to come out into the wilderness, to consciously put myself into the homeless experience. Although, again, I could have maintained, I could have continued to stress, but I would have been I would have not risen, evolved, or gotten to this blockage. Now, this was a major blockage. This was major shadow work that I was doing, and I would not have gotten to it. I would not have gotten my fragments back had I not done this. This was the path. This was the key for me to be all the way out into the experience. I needed to see what I needed to see. Okay. Um, what else? So let's talk about when I got out, when I finally decided to get out. Like, there was a lot. Now, this is when it just kicks up notches. It kicks up a lot of notches because we have this brotherhood, okay? The same brotherhood. Now, I'm going to be saying names. I'm going to be saying the name of this brotherhood. Okay, now the Great White Brotherhood. Let's talk about it. Um, Thieves. They are thieves. They stole divine power. They didn't. They stole it from me. They stole it from the collective. But again, at this point, fuck the collective. It's how I feel right now. Okay, but they did steal the power. They stole the wisdom. They stole the knowledge. They stole it all from the collective, from my collective. Which this is not my collective, but they did steal the wisdom and the knowledge from my collective. Okay, while look, I'm not gonna get into that right now because I understand. Um, So let's get into the antics of when I first came out. Now, we already talked about the meth. Now, this meth, the drug methamphetamines, crystal meth, is important for a variety of reasons. Not just this lifetime, but we have that prior lifetime where I was kidnapped after being raped by my counterpart. I was kidnapped after being raped and cursed by my counterpart. I was kidnapped, then thrown into sex trafficking and fed crystal meth, which at that time acted differently than it does act now. But I was fed that drug and put into sex trafficking. The last time we heard about crystal meth was way back in the throat with the goddess Lilith and this brotherhood, because I am seeing the individuals in this brotherhood, but I'm seeing them not in the cloaks. We gonna really be getting into them, into that brotherhood in this one right here. I'm gonna be talking a little more about the stooges, the losers, the rejects that this powerless brotherhood was and won't always be, because this karma, you're not always gonna be okay. But this brotherhood, okay, we're gonna be talking about how they were affecting me when I first decided to come out. This was a very uncomfortable situation because I did not know how to navigate it. I was at first. Now this was at first. Now I was barely getting any sleep, but I do gotta go back to when I was younger, a little younger. Now, spirit had pushed me out before when I was younger, but I did not know what I was doing at that time. I did not know that that's what was the recipe was being called for. I did not know that, like, that's what spirit was calling me to do, to put myself into this experience and to find the comfort within it, to relax within it, and to be more present within my body. I did not know that that's what the path was calling for me to do. So, some of the same things happened where I could not find a place to sleep, where I did not feel comfortable sleeping. So, I would be up for days or barely getting any sleep. This happened again this time at first before I adjusted to this and adapted to being unhoused. I could not find a place to sleep, so I would be up and falling asleep during the day as I was about my business on the train or on the bus, whatever the case may be. And this is where you have this brotherhood fucking with me, like really fucking with me at the times where I would be on the verge of sleep but could not really sleep, with the hallucinations and things of this nature. Um, because I can recall hearing them talk. I can recall hearing the voices and being called a boy very strongly, as if that was gonna hurt my feelings. Because I love being a boy. Yeah, but um, being called a boy in like this voice, it was this deep voice, like, and it sounded like a voice that you would hear like Darth Vader or something like that, like one of them deep voices that you could hear on a commercial or something like that. Okay, they were really fucking with me when I first got out, put myself out into this experience because I did not know how to navigate it. Okay, they were really fucking with me. So what else? Aside from that, did the methamphetamines now again? Because I forgot to say about. Let's go back to the throat chakra with the methamphetamines and this brotherhood using the individuals within that brotherhood using the drug methamphetamines, although it had a very different effect than it does down here in the root chakra. When we were up in the throat chakra and I was Lilith, that drug had a different effect. Like it fried them. It didn't cause as much damage as it causes now down here. But anyway, I recall individuals within that brotherhood ingesting that drug and doing that drug, and I'm also seeing one of them say, "Oh, I'm seeing this individual is fried off that drug," and I'm seeing this individual offering this drug to someone else, saying, "You should try this." Is what I'm seeing as it pertains to that drug, methamphetamines, up in the throat chakra when it wasn't as, you know, strong and had the potential to really take the soul out. This is what this brotherhood was leading that drug, the effects of that drug up to. This was really for divine beings to attempt that swap. Okay, what else? This brotherhood. And so when I first got out, I see that's why they stooges. This is why they stooges, because these individuals are children. Okay, um, humans. Okay, they are humans, and they had to band together. This powerless brotherhood with those spells and those chants and those incantations that definitely did not work, that I would always have to scold them for and get them together and gather them up like a turnip, gather them up out of the garden like a motherfucking turnip. I recall myself always having to get them together about those chants and those spells and those incantations and the fact that they were powerless and will always be powerless, except for through stealing the eye contact of a divine being that they threw down. Okay. So these meth addicts, okay, I see this brotherhood is stupid. They're stupid, and see they really thought that I was going to wind up addicted to crystal meth. Okay, they didn't realize that I was coming down here to do a job. That any type of spell work that they thought that they were doing was not really working. Okay, those spells that they had still been doing for ends since the beginning of this simulation, that none of them worked really. All of them, all of that work that they did not work on their behalf because all it did was push me towards the shadow work. Okay, push me to onto the path where I needed to be, doing the things that I needed to do to recall my story and to regain my soul fragments. That's all that magic did. Them spells and them chants and them incantations that I always scolded them for anyway. Okay. What else? Cause let me see how long this is. That brotherhood, who refer again, they refer to themselves as the Great White Brotherhood. Let me see how far I'm into this. Oh, 31 minutes. I didn't know this was gonna be so long. Okay. So, back on the meth, they really thought that I was going to be addicted to crystal meth just because I had to ingest the drug a few times in order to get all of the pieces in the puzzles, okay, to my own story. And they thought that they could use this homelessness experience somehow to, make me feel like I needed to ingest this drug when I first got out. Because here we go with these meth addicts all in my motherfucking face, stealing eye contact. Now, this was just about a year ago when this was occurring, these meth addicts. And again, at this time, I had no clue that this is what the collective had been doing, stealing the eye contact and things of this nature. But this is what I would see. These meth addicts looking at me, stealing the eye contact. But this was the individuals. I could feel the individuals within that brotherhood working through these individuals. Okay. Where we gonna go next? So this brotherhood was really tempting me or trying to tempt me. And then coupled by the incidents where you have these individuals who would come up to me asking me if I wanted to buy some crystal meth or if I knew where some was. Baby, let me tell you something, okay? Now, because this still happens. That's why I say they stupid. Because I somehow what they think I'm fall for it. Stupid. But let me tell you something. Do not ever, if you don't want to get cussed out, bitch, and be shocked and gagging because I done cussed you out real quick and you weren't expecting that to come out of my mouth, don't you ever come up to me asking me about crystal meth in any of its forms. I don't care if you want to buy it or sell it. Bitch, if you come up to me, excuse me, asking me about crystal meth, you are going to feel the wrath. Okay, that is a very dangerous drug. And it has the potential to take you completely out. You do not want to fuck with that drug. It will literally take your soul. You, baby, don't even go there. Okay, that was the purpose of this drug, for them to think that I was going to be addicted, so that they can come in and get all of what I'm talking about, my core, my fragments, the fragments of mother, the core, the inner child. Somehow they thought that they were going to be able to obtain it. The stupidity of this brotherhood and the individuals who worked with them and for them. Okay. So again, you have these meth addicts tempting me, or thinking they tempting me, but they not. It's just annoying the fuck out of me. Couple by, you have these individuals coming up to me asking me if I wanted to buy or if I had something for sale. Just annoying. Let me tell you something about a meth addict. Now that is the lowest vibration that you could possibly find yourself within. The lowest frequency that anyone could ever find themselves being within. The grips of this drug, methamphetamines, it is the lowest vibration, the lowest frequency. It takes you completely out. It absorbs you completely. Now, I'm talking about, especially once you are addicted to this drug. If you get addicted to this drug, it takes you completely out. But for me, this was my shadow work. However, they tried to use that. They tried to use that against me. Tried to tempt me more to into doing this drug. And again, this drug is connected to the cans and the bottles in some way, with these spirits being inside of the cans or being around the cans. Being something about the spirits around the cans and the bottles that I have been picking up on. Okay. And this is what you like, the cans and the bottles. This is something that you would see these individuals doing. The individuals who ingest meth, the individuals who ingest meth, the individuals who are addicted to this drug. This is what you would see doing that. So I was supposed to be, because they thought that they were the most high. They thought that they could alter. They stupid. This brotherhood stupid. Oh, that's what makes me so mad about it. That's what makes me so mad. They always been stupid and lame and loke. Loke. You remember we used to say loke in middle school? Loke, lame, rejects. This brotherhood is what they are. Okay. So, okay, eventually I adjust to it. Okay, this is getting easier for me. It's getting easier for me to be out here in the wilderness. It's getting easier for me to be homeless. I found me a place to sleep, and lo and behold, it was directly on the beach. And that's where I felt most comfortable sleeping, and I should have just been out there on the beach sleeping. Okay, right next to the water. And it got more comfortable. I adapted to the situation. Now this is when my fragments really started to return, as I got more comfortable and as I cleared the emotions. This was an emotional process because I was really upset. This was not. This was the shadow work. This is the real shadow work. The finally letting go and the releasing my attachment to the system and to the rat race, and finding my freedom within this experience of being, quote, homeless. Although we're going to be talking about the real definition of homeless coming up, because this one getting too long. I think I got what I wanted to get out. Talk about this. First of all, talk about the experience of it, but get into this brotherhood a little bit as well. The Great White Brotherhood, and you can actually research them. Even though it doesn't matter, because what everything that has been written about them is lies. You can't trust nothing that has been written about anybody here in this matrix. It's all lies, and these individuals have hidden behind different things, such as Orumala, hiding behind this African spirituality when he was. Oh my God! These individuals were able to hide in various places. Okay, and no, I ain't gonna say that. I'm too raspy right now. And hungry. I don't know. I'm finna give me something to eat. I think that's it about this. Thank you. Bye bye.